Hey everyone, welcome back to Healing Growth. I'm Lucky, and as always, I'm here with Mika to, well, to kind of dig into something I think we've all thought about at one point or another.
For sure. Today we're taking on, the age-old battle of the heart, love versus lust. How do we even know if it's the real deal or just, a fleeting fireworks show?
Exactly, and we've got some notes and articles, even some research
Oh, yeah.
that you flagged, so we're going to do a deep dive into how to tell the difference. Because I think sometimes it can feel like they're wearing the same costume, right?
Oh, definitely.
Kind of.
Especially in the beginning. But, understanding the difference is so crucial for building healthy relationships. You don't want to be laying a foundation on sand.
100%. So let's break it down. Let's start with lust. We've all felt it, that sudden rush of attraction, almost magnetic pull towards someone. What's really happening there?
Okay, so imagine this. You lock eyes across the room, and bam! Palms are sweaty, hearts racing, can't think straight. That's lust in action. It's all about that initial visceral attraction. And it's driven by some pretty powerful hormones. Testosterone, estrogen. They're basically pushing you towards,
Procreation,
yeah.
keeping the species going. But if we're being honest, lust isn't exactly known for its long-term planning skills.
Exactly, you got that right. And this is where things get a little tricky. It's so easy to mistake that initial burst of excitement for something deeper, but lust is all about the surface. It's surface level connection. You're drawn to their looks, their charisma, how they make you feel in the moment, but you're not really seeing the whole person, the good, the bad, and the complicated.
So you're saying even those deep late-night conversations could just be fueled by lust. How can we tell if it's actually going deeper?
It's a great question. Think about it this way. Are those conversations mostly about sharing feelings, dreams, vulnerabilities? Or are they more about keeping the excitement going, focused on the physical, on the we? If you're constantly craving their presence, but can't really say what you admire about them beyond the surface, that's a bit of a red flag.
So it's like you can't stop thinking about them, but you're not really thinking about them. That's fascinating, but also a little scary, to be honest. What about love, then? How does that fit into this crazy equation?
Love is a whole different ballgame. It's about that slow burn, the kind that grows stronger with time. Imagine a fire that keeps giving off heat even after the initial flames die down. That's love. It's a deeper connection that goes beyond the physical. You're curious about their hopes, their fears, their dreams. You want to understand them on a soul level. It's about building a foundation of trust and intimacy that can weather those inevitable storms that life throws your way.
I love that analogy. But realistically, how do we know when lust has transformed into love? Is there like a light bulb moment?
Yeah,
Or does it happen gradually?
it's definitely more of a gradual shift, but there are some telltale signs. For example, with love, you start to see their flaws. And instead of being turned off, you actually accept them. You feel safe and comfortable being your true self around them without the fear of judgment. You want to support their growth and celebrate their successes. It's less about fireworks and more about a steady, comforting warmth.
Okay, that makes so much sense. But I have a feeling some of our listeners might be thinking, wait a minute, I thought I was in love, but now I'm not so sure.
Mhm.
What do you say to those who are feeling a little confused right now?
Don't worry, it's totally normal to feel confused. These feelings are complex, and it's not always easy to tell them apart, especially when infatuation throws a wrench in the
Oh,
mix.
infatuation.
Yeah.
That sneaky little imposter. We've all been there. It feels so intense, so all-consuming. It can trick us into thinking it's love when it's really more about projecting our own desires onto someone else.
Exactly. It's like seeing someone through rose-colored glasses, focusing on the good and ignoring the potential red flags. And that can be really dangerous because it keeps you from seeing the person clearly.
This is so insightful.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we could all use a little reminder of these differences every now and then. It's easy to get caught up in the moment and lose sight of the bigger picture. And for those of you listening, if you're finding this conversation helpful, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the world of relationships. We'd love to have you join our community.
We also love to hear your thoughts. What are your experiences with navigating love and lust? Share your story in the comments below. We love hearing from you guys. It helps us all learn and grow together.
So true. Okay, so we've talked about lust, we've talked about love,
Yeah.
but infatuation can really blur the lines. How can our listener figure out if what they're feeling is the real deal or just a temporary infatuation high?
That's where self-reflection comes in. It's like putting on your detective hat and really examining the clues.
Okay, I'm ready to channel my inner Sherlock. What kind of clues should we be looking for?
First, ask yourself, do I genuinely like this person for who they are, quirks and all? Or am I more drawn to how they make me feel?
Hmm,
Infatuation is often about seeking validation or filling a void within ourselves. It's more about us than about them.
So it's like,
Yeah.
am I attracted to them or the idea of them? Hmm, that's a tough one. But I guess that's why honesty is so important in this process.
Absolutely. And here's another question to ponder. Can you picture a future with this person beyond the honeymoon phase? Like, can you imagine navigating the ups and downs of everyday life, the challenges, the compromises? Or are you mainly focused on the excitement of the present moment?
That's a really good point. Infatuation is kind of like a sugar rush. It's intense but fleeting. Love, on the other hand, has staying power.
Exactly. And speaking of staying power, think about the conversations you have with this person. Do you feel truly seen and heard? Are you able to share your deepest thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment? Or does it feel more surface level, like you're always trying to impress them or keep things light?
Okay, so vulnerability is key. Got it. But sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable, especially in the early stages of a relationship. Any tips for overcoming that fear?
It's definitely a process, but remember, true love requires authenticity. It's about letting go of the need to be perfect and allowing yourself to be seen for who you truly are. And if the other person doesn't appreciate that, well, that might be another red flag.
Wow, this is really making me think. I'm starting to see how easy it is to confuse these feelings. It's like they're all tangled up in a big emotional knot.
They really are. But the good news is that by asking ourselves these questions, we can start to untangle that knot and gain more clarity.
So let's recap. We've talked about the importance of self-reflection and asking ourselves some tough questions, but I have a feeling some of our listeners might still be wondering, okay, what if I realize it's not love? What if it's just lust or infatuation?
Mm,
Is that a bad thing?
not necessarily. Remember, lust is a natural part of life. It's what drives us to connect with others. And infatuation can be fun and exciting. It can even spark a deeper connection down the line. The key is to be aware of what's driving your feelings and not let those feelings control you.
That's such a good point. It's about being in the driver's seat of your own emotional journey.
Exactly. And sometimes that journey takes us on unexpected detours, but that's okay. It's all part of the learning process. The most important thing is to be honest with yourself and to trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is.
Sometimes it feels like we're bombarded with messages about finding the one, like there's only one person out there for us. It can create a lot of pressure, especially when you're trying to figure out if what you're feeling is right or wrong.
It's true. But I think it's important to remember that love isn't a destination, it's a journey. And it's a journey that starts with ourselves. By understanding our own needs, desires, and patterns, we can create healthier and more fulfilling relationships.
I love that. It's about taking ownership of our own happiness and not relying on someone else to complete us. And speaking of ownership, we all have different love languages, right? Like some people express love through acts of service, while others crave words of affirmation. Does that come into play here?
Definitely. Understanding your own love language and the love language of your partner can make a huge difference in how you communicate and connect. For example, if you thrive on quality time and your partner expresses love through gifts, you might feel disconnected even if they're showering you with presents.
That's such a good point. It's about finding that alignment and speaking each other's language.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, even if the love is there, if you're not communicating effectively, it can lead to misunderstandings and frustration.
Absolutely. And that's why open and honest communication is so vital in any relationship, whether it's based on love lust or somewhere in between.
So it's not just about figuring out what we're feeling, but also about being able to articulate those feelings to our partner.
You got it. Because at the end of the day, relationships thrive on connection, understanding, and mutual respect. And that requires both parties to be willing to show up authentically and communicate their needs and desires.
This has been so enlightening. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of this topic, but I've already learned so much. What are some final words of wisdom you'd like to share with our listeners today?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that there's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to love and relationships. What matters most is that you're true to yourself, that you're honest with your partner, and that you're constantly growing and evolving together.
I love that. It's about embracing the journey, the good, the bad, and the messy. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're all in this together. And if you're enjoying this conversation, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Healing Growth for more deep dives into the world of relationships.
Absolutely. We love connecting with you guys. And for those of you who want to take this conversation even deeper, leave a comment below and tell us about your experiences with love, lust, and everything in between.
Yeah, it's amazing how much we can all learn from each other.
It really is. And one thing that comes up a lot is this fear of making the wrong choice. Like, what if I misread the signs and end up heartbroken?
Totally. Yeah, I think that fear can be paralyzing for a lot of people. It's like we're so afraid of getting hurt that we end up holding back or even sabotaging our own happiness.
Yeah, it's like we're trying to protect ourselves from the pain, but we might miss out on the joy that love can bring.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a tricky balance. But here's the thing I've learned. We can't let fear dictate our choices. Heartbreak is a possibility, but it's also a part of life. And honestly, sometimes those experiences teach us the most valuable lessons about ourselves and what we really want in a partner.
It's true. Heartbreak can be a catalyst for growth. It can help us redefine our boundaries, clarify our values, and lead us to a love that's even deeper and more fulfilling.
Sometimes I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to find the one. Like there's this magical person out there who's going to complete us and make all our problems disappear. But what if that's just a fairy tale? What if love isn't about finding perfection, but about choosing to love someone, flaws and all, and growing together through life's challenges?
I think you're onto something. Real love is about embracing the messiness, the imperfections, the everyday moments. It's about accepting each other fully and supporting each other's growth.
And that takes work, right? It's not
Hmm.
always easy or romantic. But I think that's where the true beauty lies. It's in the effort, the commitment, the choice to show up for each other every day, even when it's hard.
Exactly. And remember, love is a verb. It's not just a feeling, it's an action. It's about making the conscious decision to nurture the relationship, communicate openly, forgive support, grow together.
This has been such a powerful conversation. I feel like we've covered so much, but there's always more to explore, right?
Always. Love is a lifelong journey of discovery, of ourselves and of our partners. And the more we understand about love, lust, and everything in between, the better equipped we'll be to create healthy, fulfilling relationships.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
I hope they leave feeling empowered to trust their own instincts, to embrace the journey, and never settle for anything less than a love that truly lights them up from the inside out.
Beautifully said. And for those of you listening, thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration. Remember, love is out there, and you deserve to experience it in all its messy, beautiful glory. Keep those hearts open, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep loving. We'll see you next time on Healing Growth.